It's all good. Speaking of that, so Lions, Packers, the first game in the post-TJ Hockenson era. So I know a lot of eyes are going to be on James Mitchell, Brock Wright. Brock Wright questionable right now. We'll see exactly what the story is with that. Here's my deal. And Spence has the question on the screen if you're watching right now, woodwardsports.com, wherever you're watching. Who will pick up the slack for the Lions? To my response is, what slack? Like 60 yards receiving every fourth game?
Technically, Neil, it is 6.7 targets per game and 44 receiving yards per game in his career.
Anybody will pick up that slack. Anybody. It just drives the... Why did I get set up here? Wait a minute. Everyone's sitting here laughing like Sam Flannel's got this grin on his face. Spence has got a delayed laugh. Did you guys set me up with this or no?
No, it's just funny.
I feel like I was set up.
He gives you 100 yards every 24, 25 games.
Right.
It's not bad, right?
Once in a while. Once a year.
You're going to... Look, the reality is you don't need anybody to pick up the slack because it was pathetic. James Mitchell's already a better run blocker. That's not me, that's PFF, so you can go yell at them. You know where Hockenson ranks this year among tight ends in run blocking? A good old 94. There are 93 tight ends that block.
Wait a minute.
And I was told he was an elite blocker.
Yeah. Well, for sure, I was told, and he's double teamed all the time. That was something that people in the chat ran to,
That's
too.
a lie. Yeah. If you ever watch the game, that's a lie. He gets the linebacker every time. And he either doesn't beat him, or when he does, the quarterback's either dying, throwing to somebody else, or he throws it to him, and what do you know? He doesn't catch it. He has the same catch rate through his first 4 seasons as Eric Ebron, and he's only 0.2% better than Eric Ebron. He's got 9 fewer drops, but he's played in 9 fewer games, so he's still got 9 games to catch up to that number. So again, pick up the slack for who?
Yeah.
You lost a turd. If the Lions, God forbid, the Lions actually did a smart move and they fired Dan Campbell somehow before Sunday. Who's going to pick up the slack for Dan Campbell? My mother could. You'll probably win the game if Dan Campbell's not coaching on Sunday. So, yeah, look, Hockenson, he'll probably have more success in Minnesota given they actually know what the hell they're doing. They have a coach. They have, other weapons that are useful. Having said that, the Lions aren't losing anything. James Mitchell will be just fine. Brock Wright showed he's more than capable. If anything, he's out-received Hockenson over the last few weeks outside of that explosion game against Seattle. Hockenson's a turd. But not as a player, just in Detroit. He was a turd. Just like A'Shawn Robinson was. He was a turd here. He went on and had success. Good for him. But the reality is, in Detroit, he had no success. He's a player that every 25 games would get you 100 yards. Wow, that's a big accomplishment.
These are all facts, man.
But he's a top 10 tight end. What the fuck does that mean? No. He's a top 10 tight end in a league where there's maybe 4 or 5 at most that are really good tight ends. Goddard, Kelsey, Andrews,
Kittle,
but he's not even producing like a top 5 tight end. So, what's the deal here?
He's the TJ Hockenson of the top 5 tight ends.
He fools everybody.
2,000-yard season.
But he's actually a good run blocker, by the way.
That's very true.
He is.
No, I have a crazy stat about TJ Hockenson, too, because I've had many. I've heard a lot of people, I know you guys have heard this, too, that TJ Hockenson had a Pro Bowl season. I know you guys have heard people say that all the time. He was like the 9th fill-in. But
7 tight ends had to be shot on Monroe Street for him to get in.
And that's actually very true. And one of the reasons is that TJ Hockenson's average game that year, his numbers average out to 4 receptions and 45 yards per game.
Oof.
Do you think James Mitchell and Brock Wright couldn't combine for 4 receptions and 45 yards? And if people want to talk about him in the red zone, he only had 6 touchdowns that year. The numbers play out to, as a member of the Detroit Lions, he was mid. And while he was on the Detroit Lions, the Lions have been the worst team in the NFL during his tenure, and they're the worst team in the NFL this year. So anybody who is still advocating that was a bad trade or that the Lions should have kept them, I don't know what to tell you. That is absolutely shameful. It's dishonest. And I question whether you have a brain inside your head, honestly. Seriously.
WoodwardSports.com chat thread. Sean Wright says Neil changes his tone from Tuesday defending the Lions not making a move, but today he's defending the move. LOL. What? Well, Sean, because I didn't think there was any way in hell that anybody would want TJ Hockenson, but here we are.
No. Rephrase that. There was no way in hell they were going to get a second-round pick for TJ Hockenson. That's what Roquan Smith went for.
Right.
That's what Christian McCaffrey went for.
Right.
In division, Minnesota overpaid. He's not worth a second and maybe a third. We'll see how it plays out. Hockenson is not worth that. If I were trading, I would offer Detroit a fourth and a fifth, and I told them, have at it. Like, you got a second and a third, you save $15 million a year basically. I don't get it. I don't know where the angry mob is coming from, Neil. That you got rid of a tight end who clearly wasn't making a difference. Oh well, the team got worse. They're 12-42-2 in his career. It's not like he's an impact player. Go look at the league division winners. You know what? Fuck it. Let's do it right now. I'm in the mood.
Well,
I'm in the mood. Let's go around the league, right? Let's go look at all the teams that are in first place in their division. Dawson Knox and the Bills. Boy, he's a top 3 tight end. How about Kansas City? They have Travis Kelce. That's fair. So 1 out of the 2 divisional leaders so far. The Ravens, Mark Andrews. There you go. 2 out of 3. And then the Titans. I'm not sure who the hell their tight end is. Let's go to the NFC. Dallas Goedert. There you go. 3 out of 5. We're making progress, people. Seahawks. What? Will Dissly? Noah Fant? Kiss my ass. So there you go, 3 out of 6.
Yeah, you guys remember Will Dissly? He goes around your fantasy football league.
Yeah.
He's like the Zeke Elliott of tight end.
Yeah,
He's the prostitute you pass around to the boys. That's it. He's not any good. He's just easy and quick. Let's go to the Vikings. Hawkinson's not elite. They're winning the division without a tight end prior to him showing up. And the Falcons, what? Kyle Pitts,
He's played like trash.
He's a
this
wide
year.
receiver number 1 too. He's been trash this year.
Yeah.
So 3 out of the 8 division leaders at the moment have an elite, exceptional tight end. No, you're not winning games in the NFL because of your tight end. You're winning them because of a guy on the defensive front who can put pressure and get after the quarterback. And I don't know, a quarterback. What do you know?
What do you know?
They're kind of important, Neil.
Lane Hartman says, we didn't get a second and third. We traded up picks, but that's fine with me. It's about building the team the right way. Yeah, and there were pick swaps. But, again, you take 2 fourth-rounders or possibly a fourth and a fifth and turn them into a second and third.
That's the difference.
And you're not paying this guy $9.5 million next year and $13 million per year after that. You plug in James Mitchell. He's sitting here making $750,000. The production will be the same. Holler at me. Let me know. Let me know. That's how good teams are made. That's how they're made, everybody. I know it hurts because he had long hair and stuff like that and had a cool nickname and all that. I understand it. I get it all. But the bottom line is he's gone. And now we move on. And for me, it's Brad Holmes, man. It's always going to be Brad Holmes, and that's the way that it is.
That's just the way it is.
It's part of the plan. The fact that you were able, again, even if it was just a second-round pick, that's alone is a steal.
Right.
Not only because of the money you're saving, but because of the production, he was giving you. And the fact that you got a second-round pick. I mean, come on, guys. What are we doing here? You now have 6 picks in the first 3 rounds. It is clear as day. The GM knows what he's doing. Clearly, the head coach is a turd. Can't fix that. And I don't even think he has the authority to fire him. So that's a whole different conversation that we're not going to dwell into. But at the end of the day, if you would have told me, Neil, before the season, the Lions will trade TJ Hockenson for a second-round pick, I would have gave you the middle finger and laughed and walked away. Because there's no way you could have convinced me.